Thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate it. We don't get all that many CEOs prepared to talk to the retail customers, but I'm really glad you did. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Now, when I first started writing about SES a couple of years ago, I said that you were a lithium metal battery company. And then kind of last year, I changed my mind to that you were an AI company who just happened to make batteries. And kind of now I'm sort of thinking that perhaps the core competency is that you're actually an electrolyte discovery company who's looking to monetize ways of of the electrolytes that you either manufacture or that you discover, and that the other AI is to help you in that process. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think that is a very accurate description. So we have found in the past 10 plus years of research in our own company, and also we hire some of the best electrical scientists from around the world and have 20, 30 plus years of experience, that all lithium batteries, lithium metal or lithium ion, silicon, they have one common fundamental failure mechanism, and that is the plating of lithium metal. So a lithium metal battery starts out as a lithium metal battery. A silicon lithium ion, after many cycles, becomes a lithium metal battery. So all lithium batteries eventually become lithium metal batteries because of the plating of lithium metal on the anode. And so this is one thing that we have found, our human scientists. And then we apply this to address lithium metal batteries, which today we're commercializing for drones, UAM applications, and also in the B sample for EV. And then through the process, we found that by using AI and also the new tools in computation chemistry, it can really help us identify new molecules that can address this lithium metal plating issue in all lithium batteries. So to put things in context, from the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and then now 30 plus years, the battery industry only looked at about, so the electrolyte of a battery consists of three components, right? Salt, solvent, and the additives. And the global battery industry only looked at about 700 unique molecules in the last 30 years. But in the universe, there is 10 to the 11th. So 100 billion possible molecules. And this is already after filtering, after applying the battery filter. Still, you have 100 billion. So can we map the physical chemical properties of this 100 billion so that we can find new molecules to address different battery problems much faster? So that's what we started out doing about more than 2 years ago. And then, but then to do this, if you use conventional computation power, it will take a long time, like on the order of thousands of years. So not practical. But with the latest Hopper 100 GPU that came out 2 years or so, and also more important than the hardware are these new GPU accelerated softwares that you can use to compute single molecule properties, solution properties. So and this really shrank the time from several thousands of years to a few months. So now it's actually very practical. We are already at 10 to the 8th. So we are already at 0.1% of this molecular universe. And then in a few months, we'll get to 10 to the 9th, so 1%. And once you get to 1% of this raw synthesized data, then you can rely on AI to very accurately predict the rest. So and then that's on computing the database. And then also our human scientists have a lot of experience in terms of what to look for, how to find new molecules. And then now the human scientists are training an AI agent. So taking all the knowledge that they have in their brains, and then taking basically all the papers, all the books that we can find that has to do with batteries, with organic chemistry, with material science. It's something like 19 million papers we found So taking all this, teaching an AI agent so that this can help the human scientists filter all the molecules and then found new molecules faster. And then we have been quite successful in finding new molecules. So a few weeks ago, we announced this new molecule as a solvent that we identified that's different from the conventional liquid electrolyte using lithium-ion batteries. Totally different. And then we put it in lithium metal. You can improve the cycle life of lithium metal battery. And then we put it in silicon lithium ion. Actually, the higher the silicon content in the anode, the more improvement we saw in the cycle life. So then we got really excited. So now we're applying.
It's just improving cycle life. It's not improving density. The new solvent. Is that right?
Yes. So the electrolyte does not change the energy density of the cell. It only improves the performance. So that includes cycle life, low temperature, higher C rate, the performance. But the electrolyte can enable higher energy density, because previously high energy densities like lithium metal and high silicon lithium ion were not widely used because they suffer performance challenges. So if this electrolyte can solve the performance challenges, it can indirectly enable the high energy density cells.
So this new solvent, we've had a few news releases from
Yes.
SES.
Yes.
To kind of go around that. We had one just this morning.
Yes.
And I think you maybe flagged that in the sort of the last earnings call. I think in the last earnings call you said you had 5 projects with 2 different manufacturers, and today we got an announcement that a large order, $10 million perhaps in total, from 2 people. Are those two things, are they the same? Are the 5 projects with the 2 people the same as the thing announced today?
So the 5 projects we announced last year included some of the projects that we announced this morning. And then, so last time the 5 projects cover a wide range of applications, robots, heavy-duty trucking, and EV, but that was earlier stage, so smaller size. And then some of those projects have expanded and grown into larger size. And this morning it was for EV application.
So the 2 EVs, is that the same 2 companies who are running the B sample lines? Is that right? Is it the same 2 OEMs?
I mean, I think you can guess, but yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you can comment or not, but we also had an announcement today from Hyundai and GM about them extending their collaboration with in EVs. Are those are your relationship, your announcement and their announcement related in any way, or is that just coincidence of timing?
Yeah, I think it's not that related, and I think it just shows. I mean, EV is still quite strong, and then by us focusing on this electrolyte. So previously we were doing lithium metal for B samples and for EV applications, and then we continue to do that. But now with this new electrolyte that we discovered, we can also apply this to existing mature lithium-ion applications for EVs. So this does speed up the commercialization of this new electrolytes, and then it's much faster.
So will this new electrolyte have to go through the same ABC sampling on the mature lithium ion side, or will it be a quicker process?
It will be much faster because the mature lithium ion, the dry cell, that's already qualified, and then all we do is just replacing the electrolyte.
Okay. And so if that becomes successful, that research, would you then be selling electrolyte, or would you be licensing the product, or how would that work? How would SES monetize that?
Yeah. Yes. So for EV applications, we will sell the electrolyte to the battery company, and then they would put this inside their cell manufacturer, and then the cell manufacturer it is a JV between the OEM and the cell manufacturer. So in this case, we would sell the electrolyte. And then for drones and robot applications, we actually sell the batteries containing our electrolyte. So
that would
yes.
be the 2170 battery. Is that right?
Yes.
Or would it still be?
Yes. So we make both the 2170 and the pouch. We found 2170 is more popular with robot applications, and then the pouch is more popular with UAM and UAV applications. And then so that's the near-term business model. Basically, we sell the electrolyte that we discover using AI. Down the road, we plan to sell subscription access to this AI model so that we don't even need to manufacture the electrolytes. We can just give this model for a fee to any company, car companies, cell phone companies, drone companies, robot companies, storage companies, any company that wants to develop a new battery material. They can pay for a subscription to this model.
And if we also, on the 2170 going to UAMs, kind of wanted to talk about how that goes with the fact that you previously said that the A sample lines will be converted to produce product for the UAMs. Are they going to compete with each other, or is that separate?
So the 2170 is for robot. The pouch is for UAM. And then the pouch, yes, that was converted from the A sample lines. So UAV, UAM care about weight, so we use a pouch because it's lighter. And the robot care more about structure and then volume. So then we use the cylindrical.
Now, you announced a couple of orders from UAMs. I think SoftBank were one of them, and a couple of others. And I was just wondering what type of UAM are we talking about? Because it's a huge industry. It goes all the great from these EV tools like Arch and Jobby down to the sort of the little retail package you can get your children for a Christmas present, and kind of everything in between. I wonder which area of that market are you targeting?
Yeah, the UAV and UAM market is quite diverse and fragmented compared to other markets, but we are addressing, so on the large size, we are addressing the UAM, the manned eVTOL market, so like Joby, Archer, the names I just mentioned, and then these are the larger pouch cells. And then on the smaller size, we're also addressing the smaller drones. So the cell chemistry, the electrolyte, that's the same, just different cell designs. And we do have the capability, it's pouch, to make different sizes for different customers.
And I guess because you're an American company, the kind of military drone area must be a large potential market for you, which is perhaps a little bit more protected. There may be, it may be a higher barriers of entry for competition in that market. Would that be true?
Yeah, and actually, we do have a few defense orders. Yes.
You have defense orders already. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, the orders. I mean, we had a bit of revenue booked last year. I think you've announced quite recently, and more revenue coming this year. Do you have any idea of how that's going to carry on? I think for instance, when might we see revenue from the EV market, or when might we see some volume from the 2170? If you get any timeline for those?
So this year, 2025, our near-term business model is actually to sell the batteries containing the electrolyte for drones, robots, and then sell the electrolytes to EV market. So and then already in Q4 last year, we already generated some revenue, and then this year we will see growing revenue from three main segments: the drones, robots market, the EV market, and then stationary storage. So we will see that, and it'll be quite interesting to see the growth. Down the road, I think in about 1 to 2 years, we really want to move to this subscription model, because then so manufacturing the batteries is good, and then we're quite good at it. At the same time, you do have to make different sizes for different customers. It's a hardware manufacturing, and the costs eventually will come down. It's a competitive market. in 1 or 2 years, once we move to a subscription model, then we can quickly offer this to anybody for a subscription fee. So this will replace their R&D departments, and then it's going to be even more powerful.
So when you say subscription model, are we talking about? I'm not quite sure how that business model works at the moment. So are you talking about they would pay you while they discover or come up with a new electrolyte, and then when it goes into production, you wouldn't then get any sort of royalties for that, or would you get an ongoing income as that product is sold?
Yeah, so both. And then, so when I talk about this model, I'm talking about our AI agent. For now, it's an internal tool. In 1 or 2 years, we do want to offer a subscription to our AI agent. And then all companies that use batteries have constant R&D. They constantly need to improve the battery of their cell phones or the batteries of the cars in cold places, hot places. They have these constant challenges. So having access to this AI agent can help them speed up their R&D process. And so part of it will be the subscription fee. And then also part of it will be if we discover any new materials, then there's a share in the profit.
Okay, that sounds straightforward. If we could just go back to the 2170 minute, so obviously the 2170 is a very common, well, common's not the right word, but it's a very popular battery format. You know, Tesla use it, Samsung manufacture it, Molicel are working hard on it, and they seem to need slightly different chemistries and different specifications for different industries. Now, I was wondering, can you share with us any of the specifications for your 2170? What is it aimed at? Why is it better? Is it cycle life? Is it battery density? What's its selling point?
Yeah, it's higher energy density and better cycle life. So most 2170s that you see in the market, they are 5 amp hours or less. Because in the 2170, if you go to more than 5 amp hours, say 6 amp hours, and then sometimes even 7 amp hours, you have to add a lot more silicon in the anode. And then when you do that, the conventional electrolyte cannot address 2 things. One is the swelling of the high silicon anode in this can, and then second is conventional electrolyte for high silicon contain a material called FEC, and then FEC tends to gas, and then at high temperatures or even after long cycles, it will pop the lid on the can. And so conventional 2170 cannot. It's really hard for them to go to more than 5 amp hours because of the electrolyte challenge. So even though electrolyte does not increase the energy density directly, there are higher energy density cell designs that are not commercialized because of challenges that could be solved by this new electrolyte. So electrolyte can improve energy density indirectly. And then with this new material that we discovered, new solvent material, we can solve that. And then we found this solvent material. Originally, we trained the AI agent to find solvent materials for lithium metal chemistry. But then we found this commonality between lithium metal and high silicon lithium ion. Actually, the higher the silicon, the more it behaves like lithium metal. It's quite interesting. Swelling, gassing, all that, very similar from an electrolyte anode interface perspective. The higher the silicon, the more it behaves like a lithium metal. So then we found this solvent could also improve the performance. The more silicon content you add, the worse the performance it is with conventional electrolyte. That's why people don't commercialize that. But with this new solvent material, we can actually improve the performance of this high silicon content 2170. So at the 2170 cell level, now we can go to 6.5 amp hours, and also in some designs even 7 amp hours. So higher energy density than conventional 2170.
That's really interesting, Qichao. Thank you for that. makes it kind of clear exactly who you're targeting, doesn't it, when you've got submission. In terms of price, though, the 2170 is massively price competitive. Can you compete with price with those huge manufacturers, or is it going to be more of a slightly niche market?
So for now, it's robotics. Robotics this year, 2025, I will still consider that a niche, but then fast-growing market. At the same time, the 2170, we actually have these contract manufactured. So it's not like, so because, like you said, 2170 is a very industry standard format. There's no point for us to restart that from the beginning. There is a lot of engineering that went into the designs, the tablets, all that stuff. So we actually have this contract made by very established 2170 makers. So they make the dry cell, and all we do is just fill the electrolyte. So the cost actually is very competitive.
Okay, that's really interesting. Really interesting. Is that also? I mean, stationary storage is 2170 kind of dominate as well. Is that something? Because if you are increasing cycle life, that obviously would look very good in stationary storage.
Yes, for household storage like a Powerwall, they use the 2170 cylindrical. For larger like data centers or grid, they tend to use these larger prismatic cells. But for stationary, especially in cold places with lithium-ion chemistry, this new solvent that we discover, yes, can also extend the cycle life for stationary batteries.
Well, I mean, because of your process now of the AI agent discovering these electrolytes, what would you say the life cycle is of this new electrolyte?
When you say life cycle, do you mean like how long it takes us to discover?
So how long do you think the current new electrolyte, which you've made amazing progress for, how long do you think that will be the current new electrolyte before another one comes behind it?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to say. So electrolyte changes quite fast because it's a formulation. And then for us, it's like, I think once every 6 months, we come up with a new formulation. But then the base material, for example, this solvent, I think this new one that we discover is so unique. It's almost like in the last 30 years or so, even though battery electrochemistry has improved a lot, but really it's like a few solvents, VC, EC, FEC, originally discovered by Japanese chemical companies in the 90s. They're still being used today because they're so core and fundamental. So I think this new solvent core material that we discover could be like that. It could be used for any lithium battery for the next 10, 20 years as a base solvent building block. But then the formulation will change so once every 6 months. Yeah.
Now, I wonder if we could talk about sort of the industry, because I still have you in my emerging battery technology sector. That's still where I kind of look at it, and there are obviously other people in that sector. Now, when I spoke to Raj, the CEO of Electrovia, in December, and he sort of suggested that he didn't think that solid electrolyte batteries were likely to ever be successful in the large scale EV market because of the cost issues and the safety issues. And then on top of that, we've got some real progress being made by the silicon anode companies, Ampex and Innovix. I wonder if you could give your view on those different technologies. Is how you feel they're going.
So I think for solid state, first of all, solid state refers to the electrolyte, right? You can have a solid state electrolyte with a silicon anode or solid state electrolyte with a lithium metal anode. So the progress in silicon and the progress in solid state could be complementary. From our perspective, we think the focus should be on energy density, safety, and performance. I mean, the whole reason that the industry is interested in solid state because of the safety and energy density. Now, again, electrolyte does not change energy density. electrolyte impact safety and performance. The cathode anode impact energy density. And I think for us, we think liquid is more promising for two reasons. One is from a manufacturing perspective, liquid is way easier. I mean, today, the global battery manufacturing infrastructure is all based on liquid electrolyte. So if you introduce a solid, I mean, put aside the performance on that, just changing all that manufacturing is going to be a big cost. And then for what benefit, it's not clear. Second is, if you look at liquid, within liquid, you have organic, you have inorganic, and then you can map the entire universe of small organic molecules and small inorganic molecules, map the properties, and then identify suitable solvent materials, additive materials that can achieve the same level of safety as solid state. So we think the liquid is more promising because one, it's much faster. You don't need to change all that manufacturing infrastructure, and the second, it's a vast enough universe of small molecules. You can achieve the same safety. So easier manufacturing, and then same safety, same energy density promise as solid state.
Now we're talking a little about safety now, and I'd like to, if we can, the last thing I've not touched on really is your AI for safety, AI for manufacturing. It's kind of really go together to one purpose, to make batteries safer. I just like to go through it a bit. So as I understand the manufacturing side of it, what that means is in the process you've got a whole array of sensors collecting data as each cell's produced, and then from that the AI can predict which cells are likely not to go as far as others. Would that be correct in the manufacturing side?
Yes, in the manufacturing side, the AI helps discover defects that otherwise would have escaped. Actually, without adding new sensors, because if you add more sensors to every cell, yes, you could detect more defects, but then it would add cost, right? Especially at large-scale manufacturing, you're talking about making hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of cells per day per line. So you really cannot add more sensors. And then so what AI does is for some of the tests, for example, CT scan, normally you would perform on 1%, maybe 5% of the cells that you made. So the cells that you have these scanning data, you can make predictions on you can see the defects. But what about the other 95%, 99% cells that you did not do a scan? You have no data. So how do you know if they have defects or not? So with AI, AI can be trained on that 1% actual data, and then make accurate prediction on that remaining 99% cells that do not have data. So that's the benefit. You can make predictions without increasing the cost for adding additional sensors.
And you said that AI would work for other manufacturers as well. So you could sell or lease that AI for manufacturing to other companies. Is that correct?
Yeah. So for now, as part of the B sample developments that we have with the OEMs, we are applying this AI for manufacturing in their lines, not just our lines. And then for now, they're trained on the pouch cell data. And then next, we're going to train this on cylindrical cell data. So regardless of the line and the data, as long as we have good, clean data, well labeled, well annotated, and then use that to train this model, it's going to take some work to train the model for the data from that particular line. But once it's trained, it can detect defects.
Yeah, and then the AI for safety is kind of a very advanced battery management system. Is that true? Operating in the car rather than, or in the whatever it is that's using the battery, rather than on the manufacturing line.
Yeah. So the AI for safety is a piece of software that goes into conventional BMS. It does not replace the conventional BMS. The conventional BMS will already have, for example, a set of physics-based models that would apply these safety boundary conditions. So in addition, so all that are physics-based, basically human engineers identify these boundary conditions from experience, from physics. But then this AI base goes on top of that. It's going to record all the charge and discharge data, all the cycling data, rest data from the car or from the stationary storage from the device, and then take the data and then treat the data almost like a text. So the cycling data is a time series data, behaves very similar to like a book. When you read a sentence, it's actually quite similar to this charge and discharge time series data. And then you take that. We have our version of large language models and also new foundation models, and then it will discover new anomalies that are missed by the physics-based models. So you add that on top of the conventional BMS.
I'm just getting conscious of time, Qichao. We are running out of time. So just a minute, is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this up? Have I sort of not covered anything? What do you think?
I mean, I think the battery industry is quite interesting. So the cost of manufacturing, the cost of battery has come down a lot. I mean, an LFP lithium ion now it's like $35 per kilowatt hour. I think with the use of AI, I think you can have a new business model. So in the past battery industry, you have always the design and the manufacturing integrated. But I think with this AI, you could have a model where you can have design and manufacturing separate, almost like the semiconductor industry. You have a lot of very successful design-only fabless companies, and also the manufacturing companies. So I think applying AI, it's in the battery industry can help lead to a very interesting new business model.
Is that where you see SES in the future as a sort of a fabulous?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Qichao. Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed that. I want to thank you again for giving you all this time. We really appreciate it. And I hope that sometime in the future we get to talk again. But thanks once again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you.
Thank you.